Hi there, welcome to my compound life. I'm Jonathan. Great seeing you all this morning. Time is about 12:30 p.m. on the 6th of November. Let me check. What's the Bitcoin price? 103,000. Okay, not sure whether that's a good thing or not. I kind of anticipate what's going to happen when the US market open, right? In today's video, what I want to talk about is a little bit about cashing out on your Bitcoin in the UK, because that's something that I've recently encountered. So I've been on a few Bitcoin cycle already. The previous two cycle, it was purely just cashing out overseas in another countries. It was actually a lot harder, right, in comparison to now today, because back in the day when Bitcoin wasn't that prominent, a lot of cashing out relies on OTC setup, over-the-counter setup, where you probably have to trade with someone offline or over the internet, where you kind of send them money and expecting them to send you crypto or vice versa, right? So what I'll be talking about today is a little bit about this, okay? But before we get into all of that, right? Hang on, there's a car turning back, trying to get out from the car park. Okay, so before we get into all of this discussion, so I'll be talking about a few platforms that I had experience on. It may not necessarily be the best of setup, but somehow I do have some experience on it, so I can, talk to you and share with you, or perhaps if you guys got better experience, do let me know, right? So before we get into any of such discussion, it's going to take a long time. This lady, I don't know what she wants to do. But before we get into some of this discussion, number one, I'm no tax advisor, so don't rely me on giving financial advice or tax advices. But I can share with you what I've experienced and the good, the not good, and hopefully, you will be able to navigate through. Before you kind of dispose of your Bitcoin, because obviously, in this channel we spoke about Bitcoin a lot, very likely, hopefully, many of you have sold some during the peak in this cycle. It's important to have a strong exit plan, constantly take profit. You'll never be able to take profit at the all-time high or buy from the all-time low, right? So the best thing to do is pound cost average, right? So hopefully some of you have sold some of your Bitcoin. And usually when you sell your Bitcoin, before you even get into selling them, right, maybe you might want to relook into how much of my UK personal tax allowance permitted this year, right? Based on your income, based on the extra income that you might have through your side hustle, through selling your Bitcoin, through your rental income, through your stocks and shares, etc., right? So it's quite important for you to catch some of that before you start dispose of your Bitcoin, like selling your Bitcoin. Okay, so that's quite important. Okay, finally we can go out now. Secondly, before you sell your Bitcoin, right, once you have kind of established your personal allowances, if you're married, great, congratulations. You might also want to assess how much of your current Bitcoin can be sent to your wife for disposable, right? So don't sell the Bitcoin and then send the USDT or USDC, which are the stable coin that pegs against the US dollars. Don't sell Bitcoin, then send USDT or USDC to your wife, right? what you want to do is, before you even sell your Bitcoin, right, send that through to your wife, so that you can mitigate some of the capital gain tax and so forth, and then use her allowance, right, for the year. Okay, so that's a very important thing for you to explore before you start selling, right? And secondly, once you sold some of your Bitcoin, right, obviously you'll be selling them and transferring them. Okay, you'll be swapping or selling your Bitcoin into a stable coin that's pegged against the US dollar. In my case, can be either USDT or USDC, right? What can you do with the USDT or USDC after, right? So I'm going to talk about two things, two platforms. One would be Revolut, and the other one would be, I think it's called Etoro Money. So I do some stocks and shares trading on Etoro too. So recently Etoro introduced something called Etoro Money. You just need to think of it as kind of like a wallet, crypto wallet / Visa card, right? So what exactly does it do, right? So the scenario would be, you hold some USDC. So Etoro only accept USDC, by the way, right? So you can send your USDC from your crypto exchange when you sold some of your Bitcoin, and then transfer that USDC from the exchange wallet into the Etoro Money wallet for crypto. And remember that for Etoro, they only accept USDC through, I think it was the Ethereum chain, right? So make sure you do the correct chain selection when you do the transfer. So it's a little bit like, when you send money out, your stable coin out, you either use Visa network or the MasterCard network or the American Express card network, right? You just need to make sure that you select the right chain. And Etoro Money, for you to accept stable coin, they only accept Ethereum chain, right? I cannot remember quite well the rate, but on-chain transfer from any of your crypto exchange, I think it costs about $1.50, no matter how big of the sum that you're trying to send, right? So that's better in mind. So if you plan to do multiple small transactions, you might as well just do a lump sum, right? Because all of it would be part of that $1.50 USD transactional cost. Okay. Another scenario would so by the time you send that to Etoro, what you can do is to use the Etoro Money wallet for crypto to buy GBP, Great Britain pound, right? And then you can start spending your gains through an Etoro card, which, by the way, I think from an Etoro perspective, in the UK, they're doing some promotion right now. Essentially, whatever you spend through the Etoro Visa card, so essentially these are money that you transfer from crypto to buy GBP. Whatever money that you spend through that card, they give you 4%, 4.5. I think it's 4% rebates, but in the form of stocks and shares, right? So that's a good promotion to latch on to, right? So yes, I think essentially you'll be able to spend your money on Etoro card, Visa card, through Etoro Money, which is an app, right? So you can feel free to explore this through the Etoro app. But one thing for sure, when you start cashing out, make sure you set aside some money, obviously for UK tax purpose. You don't want next year come, you you essentially don't have enough money to pay for taxes, right? So please bear that in mind too. The second platform that I want to talk about would be Revolut platform, right? So in terms of the crypto assets that are supported by Revolut platform in the UK are a lot more diverse, but certainly there are fees, different tiers of account that you can enjoy the benefits, right? So I've started to use the Revolut. I think it was the most standard account. Essentially what I'm doing is to transfer USDT as opposed to USDC. So I've started to transfer some USDT through the Polygon network. I did some analysis. I'll show you a chart in this video. Somewhere I'll show you a chart. I think the transfer of USDT through the Polygon network is actually the most cost effective with the lowest fee. That's essentially transferring from your crypto exchange into the Revolut USDT wallet through the Polygon network. And of course, afterwards you can, similar to Etoro money, you can essentially convert some of your crypto into GBP. However, for the standard type of account, there are limitations. I think on a monthly basis, I'm only permitted to transfer with a very, very minimal, hello neighbor, with a very, very minimal transaction without having to incur too much fees. I think it was around £1,000, right? So if you kept that, transfer USDT, converting USDT into GBP, it would be free of charge for up to £1,000, right? So bear that in mind. So there are, of course, Forex currency type of volatility in place, but it's up to your discretion to check. However, what Revolut provide, which I think would be quite convenient, will be in the situation where you still want to spend some of your crypto, in my case USDT, and now I don't want to pay too much fee transferring them into a GBP wallet in Revolut. I can immediately start to spend my USDT through Revolut's credit card. It's kind of like a credit card that uses Apple Pay, right? So you just put it into your Apple Wallet. It's kind of like a digital card. You can, of course, apply for a physical card, which you have to pay some money. I don't think you need that because your iPhone is convenient enough, right? So essentially, Revolut also provide the service where you transfer your USDT into the Revolut crypto wallet for USDT, and essentially you can utilize the credit card on your iPhone to spend off from your USDT wallet. But of course, there'll be fees that applies to it, which also you need to consider. Okay, one thing to highlight in terms of Etoro, although they provide me with a Visa card, right? But I don't think they support Apple Pay. So essentially, I cannot put my Visa card onto Apple Pay, right? So in a way, I still have to carry my Etoro card when I go about in spending. I can still do the purchase, but I simply just don't have the convenience of Apple Pay payment. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Before we go, please like the content, subscribe if you find my content useful. I'll be creating more of such content. I'll try and perfect my content more and more over the period of time. I'm just a new content creator. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.